been notified of. So may we move on then quickly to the report of the Chief Executive. Simon, over to you.
Thanks, Malcolm. I just draw out a few items from my written report. I think much of the substance is going to be covered elsewhere on the agenda. First, I want to thank all of our team who very successfully put together the NHS Expo in Manchester earlier this month. It actually was a really fantastic event, I think, despite all of the pressures and trials and tribulations around the front line of the health service. There was a sense on the part of people who were there that actually there is a route forward that a number of people can chart and are getting on with, and it was a very practical, sleeves rolled up kind of event at no cost to the NHS or to taxpayers. Secondly, we've previously talked about the creation of the new NHS success regimes in struggling parts of the country that we launched at the NHS Confederation Conference in the summer. They are now up and running, and I and Mike Richards and colleagues from TDA Monitor will be up in Cumbria in a few days' time. The team to lead the work in North East and West Devon and in South Essex is also being put in place. So the proposition here is that by coming together between NHS England, NHS Improvement, CQC and others, working with local leaders, we aim to cut through some of the Gordian knots that have stood in the way of putting these parts of the country onto a sustainable footing. So we will see, but it feels like the right approach. Third, just to say that tomorrow we will be announcing the results of the acute care vanguards referenced in my board report, so I will hold fire until then, other than to say that we had 65 expressions of interest and, as described in my report, a very good two-day peer event at the Oval to identify what these new types of hospital partnership and collaboration should be. Fourth, Paul will talk about the position for 2015-16, the current year, particularly finances, Barbara about NHS performance. I would simply underline that I think there is now a wide understanding that absent decisive action on temporary staffing in the next several weeks, it will be very hard for the NHS overall to deliver its side of the funding bargain for 15-16, and we have no choice now but to act, and the clear expectation is that collectively we will do so. More on that will follow. As far as 16-17 is concerned, obviously we are in the early stages of the spending review process with the Treasury, and we'll need to await the outcome of that on November 25th before we are able to set allocations, tariffs or other elements of the ask for the health service for next year. However, in the meantime, we, together with NHS Improvement, intend to communicate some of the broad parameters within which we should be thinking about next year, and also set in train a more fundamental process for local health communities to begin to think about how their care systems need to be transformed between now and 2020 in line with the 5-year forward view. And I and the new Chief Executive of NHS Improvement will, with colleagues, be holding face-to-face meetings with all of the Chief Execs from across the NHS, one in Leeds, one in London, in the first part of December to kick off the results of the spending review and the new shared processes which NHS Improvement and NHS England will be moving forward with. Let me stop there, Malcolm.
Well, thank you very much, Simon. Just the first point that you touched on, which was the Expo 2015, I just feel that this is a remarkable act of engagement between the NHS and so many of our stakeholders. 5,000 people through the door every day. Good discussion because it was in Manchester around the devolution package in Manchester, and I just hope that for future years we can continue to build on this. It's a very important part of the NHS presenting not just what it's doing, but listening to a much broader community who engage with us in different events, pop-up university, different seminars over a concentrated 2-day period. So thanks to you, but also, of course, to Tim Kelsey and his team for actually preparing such a fine programme, and, as you say, at no cost to us or to the taxpayer. May I invite any comments or questions to the Chief Executive on that report? No? Well, thank you very much, Simon. That's terrific.